welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's get into the news review segment. I've been joined by Mr. Samuel Atamensah, CEO of CTFM in Accra, to my immediate left, and far off is Ricky Kasise Pepra, who's a Youth Enterprise Development Network CEO and founder. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How's the Wednesday going for you already?
It's only just begun.
Okay. Usually for people like you, it begins way before 6 a.m. when some people start their day. So let's see what's on the front pages. The Ghanaian Times this morning says 50 arrested for vandalizing police station. Delta Force escapees fined 2,400 Ghana cedis each. And 2 killed at Agblogbloshie as Concombes clash. And media occupy Ghana. DDA declare April 26th National Red Day. And we'll find out more. Sames is part of the conglomerate that's dealing with the Galamsey issue. Well, Daily Guide says bloody clash at 2 dead at Agblogbloshie. 13 Delta Force plead guilty, fined 31,200, and you're getting $18 million payment. Drama. The BNF team this morning says Education Ministry moves to settle POTAG NCTE impasse. A new tax exemptions rule could breed corruption. There's an expert there. Daily Heritage says Concombes in deadly clash at Agblogbloshie. Some feared dead, others seriously injured. Lawsuit admission suit. Supreme Court grants Professor Sari's request to amend rhythm. Police retrieve weapons after arresting 4 well-armed Chinese illegal miners. Let's see what's on the front page of the Independent newspaper. It says, we'll end vigilantism. President Akufo-Addo assures there. Today newspaper says 300 pupils at risk as they study under shaky structures. Daily Statement says, give us better service. President charges British Airways. Government defies China threat over Galamsey fight. And the Daily Graphic this morning, along with the Finder newspaper, Daily Graphic says 13 Delta Force members fined 31,200. Small-scale mining leases not ratified by Parliament. Occupy Ghana says so. And Pastor, 3 others arrested for alleged armed robbery. Ethnic clash leaves 2 dead at Agblogbloshie, and same stories in here. So, gentlemen, let's start off from Agblogbloshie because it's up there. And I understand that it started on Monday. Somebody was beaten for allegedly stealing. Tuesday, reprisal attacks, which gave rise to all the noise that we heard. Military and police were put together there. But it's not the first time it's happening in that particular enclave. What are we missing, Ricky?
My worry, first of all, thank you. My worry, first of all, is that we've already quickly captioned the Conkomba-Dagomba clash.
Right.
Now, I'm not contesting that that may well be the case. But when we splash it across the newspapers and on the airwaves, what it means is that the home communities may actually also start revving up for action.
Oh, I see.
So I would usually call for caution when it comes to some of these things. Secondly, this is one of the perennial matters that make their ugly appearances from time to time. I think there's a turf war there over who controls the market. So rather than wait until it happens and we go in with the armed forces and the police, maybe the members of parliament of the relevant areas, if indeed it is the Gomba-Conkomba issue, should be involved in this matter. There must be opinion leaders in the area. Go in there, find out for sure what exactly the issue is. Okay. You see, we tend to, some of the descriptions are the slum dwellers, etc., etc. Well, it may really be the fact, but the issue is that where else would people be able to sell yam in the East Legon enclave, or for that matter, airport enclave? No. So, and we all eat the yam. So whether we like it or not, we will have to work towards establishing some modicum of normalcy there. The other issue I probably think has contributed to this is that there may be some partisan undertones.
Right.
Again, we need to involve the relevant people. You see, I'm surprised that the security organizations were not able to get snippets or intel on things like these. once upon a time, we had a much more whole picture, security picture of this country, especially since the untoward behavior in Kumasi. One would have thought that the ears of the security services would be particularly trained towards these conflict-prone areas. So it's unfortunate, and please, once again, I entreat the authorities not to treat this with, you know, the usual knee-jerk reactions, but to actually go into the matter and find out. If it's a turf issue, maybe we can arrange some kind of power-sharing system. But it's worrisome in this day and time. And believe me, that's not the end of it. Once the soldiers leave, once the police leave, these
they'll
things
be back
are
at
going
it
to,
again.
they are going to continue to simmer. And we will have more, unfortunately, more casualties on our hands.
Sames, 2 reported dead. 1 pregnant woman say is responding to treatment but in a critical condition. Many more have been injured. My concern is the security angle, because the leader at the place, a certain Noah, says he had called the police and the emergency response time was not the best as far as he's concerned. I don't know what your thoughts are about the whole matter and the security base.
Well, thank you. I think it's an unfortunate situation, and it's one of those things that you wish wouldn't be in the news in 2017. I mean, since we've been adults, we keep hearing, you know, these names in conflict situations. You know, there's some time ago there was a reported case of a guinea fowl causing some kind of conflict.
Exactly.
So what that means is that the least provocation can escalate into what we saw yesterday. And my surprise again is why our security apparatus is not on top of a place like this, because it's obviously a flashpoint.
Exactly.
And it with the least provocation, it gets into violence. And I think that if we put the occurrences in the last couple of weeks together, violence, disruption of court proceedings, vigilante groups, and you know, criminals who call themselves vigilantes, and all these things together, it doesn't speak well of our security structure.
Right. Knowing full well that we have all the people, all the men, defense minister, interior minister, national security
I won't even,
national
first of all, I
minister.
won't get into the personalities.
Okay.
But I'll get to that later.
Yeah, I'm talking about the offices.
But the security structure
Right.
of the military, the police, the BNI, the whoever, the national security put together, it doesn't tell a good story of their tenure.
Right.
Because these things are happening right under your watch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that you caused it,
Yes.
but you are there, first of all, to prevent some of these things,
The frequency
and
is
then to
becoming
solve some of the problems that confront us. So if we wake up every day with one vigilante group attacking somebody or another, a situation like this, then what's the point? It means you are failing, and that's the truth, that they are failing. They may have all sorts of explanations, but none of them will justify the situation. I mean, if there's an outbreak of some epidemic in one of our communities and people die, it's a failure on the part of the health ministry.
That's right.
So if these things are happening, the National Security Ministry, all of them are to blame for it.
Interesting, though, and for me, just as Ricky says, as soon as the police and military leave there, the people may get back to it. And it is not the first time. We've seen previous ones. In 2015, we saw it, to the extent that we even had the government of the day put buses, you know, there and say, well, some of them should go back. But some are also arguing that with the erasure, or if you like, the cancellation of the taxes for Kayaye, it might have brought a lot more of them back who may have gotten caught up in this whole violence, because we understand that a lot of women were hurt when they were flying things at each other. I don't know if Ricky would want to pick up that angle, for example. Rightly, as you said, some are trying to put a political twist to the whole thing, but could it be the reality?
Mr. Hughes, with all honesty, I'm surprised that in the 2017, with all the advances in technology, we seem not to be on top of the issues. I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, there was considerably far better intel when it came to these issues. But as for the simplistic suggestion that because the taxes have been raised, lifted on the Kaya, there are more people that have come from our end, neck of the woods, that is neither here nor there.
Right.
It is not there. I don't think they are quarreling over space. In any case, these people unfortunately do not have designated places of rest. They sleep anywhere they can get. So I think we should stop, scapegoating. It must be that, it must be that. The issue here is that when things become particularly difficult for people to make ends meet, etc., they are very, very edgy. And the slightest provocation it results in something like this. Like Samuel said, way back in 1992, thereabout, when this alleged guinea fowl incident took place when we were still on Legon campus.
Okay.
And of course, some of us were very angry that it appeared to just be a guinea fowl. But I'm happy the way he couched it. It is to suggest that the slightest thing can result into a conflagration. That means that there are underlying tensions.
Okay.
And these tensions must be addressed.
Okay.
Look, I've discussed some, off air with some people, and they tell me that, oh, Konkombens are not Ghanaians. And these are people who are on the other side. And these are very educated people who have made these statements. Say, oh, they started by coming across to farm, and they accept, and now they are trying to claim territory, etc., etc. There are deep-seated differences.
How can we solve these things?
We will have to solve them. First of all, one of the most prominent, we have a lot of them in government. We have always had a lot of them in government, whether it is the Gombes or Konkombes or Nanumbes, or for that matter, at every point, they have always, and I'm sure that they are not happy that their tribesmen or tribesfolk are getting this negative reportage. So it's about time that they are particularly given the task to understand the concerns of their people and to see if they are addressable. If they are not addressable, then they say, look, folks, what you want is not achievable. So speak to your constituency and let it go.
I'm looking for an end to this thing, but let's move on to the Delta Force issue. So let's see.
The way you say you're looking for an end to this thing is the thing started when you are not born.
Yes, exactly. So, but we can end it if we're committed to it. That's what I think.
Well, but you are committed to your job. That's why you were here at 5 a.m.
Exactly.
It's somebody else's job to manage the crisis. And that's the point. I mean, it's not, I don't do security.
Exactly.
It is right
Everybody
at the
must
doors.
do their job.
Precisely. Precisely. But I should go to Agblogbloshie. No. It is the due. You see, let's not joke with this thing. In other countries, a thing like that can get a minister to resign.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And so we haven't even heard anything from the members of parliament of the respective communities, so to speak. Granted that it is the Gomba and Konkomba. What have they said?
And Ricky, for me, what Ricky said, I don't understand this whole thing, because what happened in Agblogbloshie will have far-reaching effect back home, up north. I'm telling you.
True.
When you approach these politicians, they will tell you big English. Plans are far advanced. We are still talking. We are doing this. Every day we are on the road, we never get to destination. Why?
Well, you can also join us. The conversation is on 050-823-5228. That's our WhatsApp line, 050-823-5228. And we're also on Twitter at News on TV3 at t.hughes_3FM. Let's move on. The Daily Graphic says 13 Delta Force members fined 31,200, 2,400. They also signed, some bonds and all of that to be of good behavior. But this judgment has generated a lot of talk on social media, particularly. Some say the punishment is not stiff enough, and that they're being treated with baby gloves. And experts also say, security experts also say that we must be very careful how we approach these matters. If not, it will escalate into something else. Ricky?
First of all, I have a particular allergy towards this description, security experts. If we have so many such experts, why do we have so many security challenges?
They are security commentators.
Probably security opinion makers or something to that effect. But I have very fundamental, should I say, very elementary knowledge in law. But I think that the courts, whichever court handles the case, has a maximum fine that they can place. And probably it is consistent with that court that, you know, even the journalists, you people are just wonderful. You decide to lump it up, 31,000. Actually, each of them is 2,400.
Right.
It's important that, you see, so one may even think that you are trying to hide because you probably believe that the 2,400 is too small, and that's why you've lumped it up to make it look big.
Some of the papers have also,
that's just my opinion.
Yes, some of the papers have also reported 2,000.
But people quickly make a comparison to the Montier issue. So the courts are different. Okay. And sincerely speaking, the issues, from a very, very pedestrian opinion, the issues may be different. Okay. It has, remember, these 13 are not the ones who, quote unquote, staged the jailbreak. Right. They are the ones who went to the regional administration. Dastardly as the act may be, it is not of the same magnitude, from my pedestrian opinion, as when people are alleged to have threatened the things that they were threatened against sitting judges of the Supreme Court. So they are not on the same ground. And we should stop again this, you know, what do you call it?
Equalization.
Equalization. I think it's just nauseating. What's important is that there has been some speedy action. Right. I was afraid that this thing was, in fact, I'm happy. Because I was particularly worried that considering all the other commentary that is going on around this issue, that nothing you know, tangible would have been done. Okay. And as for the bonds of 6 months, I hope that somebody is monitoring. But most importantly, what are the grievances of these people? It's not as if whatever their grievances are, that it is legitimate to have done what they did. But these are legitimate, I mean, people, they have problems. Okay. Some of them say that there are promises that they have not been, you know, have not been delivered. Some are talking about unemployment. Some just call it pure hooliganism. Okay. But it is important that political parties actually take a very, very open stance on these issues. I've been thinking about this, and I'm about to say, Ghanaians, we have become professional ostriches. When it comes to a major problem, everybody says it's the next person, and we are hiding our heads. No vigilante group is without a partisan support. Right. You may not have created it, but you may have approved it post facto, or you may be sponsoring it, not as if you write a check to Delta Force, but you know the operatives. Okay. You know these men. When you are in their region, you require them to walk around with you, the burly, macho men, so that you feel safe. So we are acquiescing to the presence of these people. Right. And whether we like it or not, we are all Ghanaian enough to know that they come with promises and promises and promises. Now, some of us, we take them with a pinch of salt. We know they are just promises. But some of these people, because of the desperation, they actually believe in it. Yeah, that. And most importantly, somebody told me something yesterday, and there's some amount of truth to it, that these supposed Delta Force were actually in the national security under the Kufuor regime, or some of them. Wow. Because that's the tendency. Okay. You come into government, and you bring all these gentlemen, and you put them in national security. I don't know what that means. So they are all over the place with walkie-talkies and in pickups. Some of them harassing people. So basically, some of these young folks were told that when we come into power, you will get back your positions, or you will be put into national security. Right. So we'll have to manage these issues. It's not about bonds. Believe me, and I hope I'm proved wrong, this 2,400, somebody's going to write a check and pay the 31,000, whatever. That is the perception that is going around. And I mean, it was particularly embarrassing when Honorable Kandapa said, there are no such organizations to be
in fact, while he was telling Parliament that
it was happening.
There,
you know, it was happening. So let's stop being legalistic. Yes, nobody came and registered an organization called Delta Force, but they are in this country as came to be ashamedly present in our faces. So if we are going around, you know, pretending that these things are not happening, these are the type of embarrassing issues that are going to happen. I am particularly worried that they have decided to now go to the judiciary. For me, that is always the last border. Exactly. I have a lot of skepticism about the propriety of the behavior of the politician proper, that is the legislature and the executive. But when it comes to the judiciary, one would hope that they will remain off this whole showdown.
Okay, Summers. Yes, sir.
Your thoughts about this issue?
No, I think Ricky has spoken. But you know, again, it's. I think for me, the key thing is the role of the judiciary in this whole thing and the speed with which they have acted. Right. And I think that is something that we should all...
Some say it's because one of their own is being caught in there, the Judge Centre, the magistrate, because she was, you know, humiliated, attacked and all of that. The judiciary moved in quickly and they say, and they liken it to what happened in Parliament.
But the Muntie 3, who was under fire?
Well, the judiciary as well.
Yeah, so the speed with which it has happened for me is something that we should all applaud the judiciary because, you know, the moment you delay these things, it opens itself up to all sorts of perceptions and suggestions. So I think that, again, requires a commendation. The other thing is, you see, these guys have not been punished for their foremost action of attacking a national security coordinator at all. We haven't even gotten there.
We have not gotten to that meat.
And then secondly, they did not cause the quote-unquote jailbreak. They didn't cause it. They only benefited from it.
Okay.
You understand? Somebody breaks jail and Rawlings comes out and makes a coup d'etat and becomes head of state. And he's head of state forever. Somebody breaks jail and somebody goes to town, but decides that on reflection, let me go back and report myself. I think I'm not a law student and I don't... The moment you do this voluntarily, it kind of brings down the punishment, or isn't that what?
The weight of the...
Yeah, kind of, you know, and they pleaded guilty too. And so it's now left with the judge to decide, you know. But if you keep saying that you are innocent and you run away and the police will now have to come and look for it, then your punishment is bigger.
They will put in
everything
for
you know. So maybe we'll look at it as a minimum punishment that could, but they are still going to be tried for the initial action of harassing the
security coordinator.
Precisely. And then the other 8 who actually masterminded the jailbreak are also on standby to be dealt with. So it's still the story is still.
Will it necessarily bring an end to vigilantism? Because that's been the major concern.
No. You see, I'm not thinking that the issue has to do with vigilantism, and I don't even understand why everybody is talking about vigilante groups. But no, it's about violence in our politics.
Okay.
It is not. When you go to the party offices and the fights that happen, does it always have to be with vigilante groups? It's about violence in our parties, in our politics. The violence, whether it's from vigilante group, whether it's not from whoever, is a violence in our parties that we should condemn.
As in fueled by those who have money and they can sponsor it. Some say we should cut off the funds.
You can locate the source anywhere. But what I'm saying is that it is the violence in our political
parties. Who must address it, Summers?
Well, the parties should come together. I think the parties should admit that we have a problem. Okay. Because, look, I've been covering these political party activities since '96.
Right.
And it didn't just start today. The other time, it was MPP. Asylum Down.
Okay.
Before it was NDC in Koforidua Eridek Hotel, where people were brandishing cutlasses and all those things. And it was not vigilante groups.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that we can deal with this issue of vigilantism, yes, but it is the element of violence that is the problem. So go ban or outlaw vigilante group, individuals will take on to violence. And what do we get? So the fundamental issues, what is causing violence in political activity?
Okay.
Why should anybody think that they can go and exact violence on somebody and walk free?
Ricky, you wanted to have a bite on this one?
I'm particularly happy that you brought about this issue of vigilante. And I don't want us to go into any grammar. I'm not qualified so to do. But vigilantism, especially when you mention Mr. Martin Amidu as a citizen vigilante, it has a positive connotation.
Precisely.
Somebody who is watching out for the public interest.
Okay.
Then you quickly, the journalists, the media houses, use the same thing to describe a bunch of brigands or hoodlums.
Okay.
I think that Mr. Martin Amidu should be very vexed that you have used that epithet on him.
The police helped in the definition.
Yeah, I will call them thugs, period. But again, the impunity...
Based on what they have done.
Yes, they are pure
thugs.
Thugs. There is no giving them any...
Isan Kuma says pilox.
He calls the word?
Pilox.
Okay, that's a new word for me. Yeah, but whatever they are, they're just brigands. They are unruly young men who've decided that they can. But most importantly, I like a point that he made. People have come to know that they can do these things and walk free. We've seen some of them who were celebrated, who have even got articles written about them because they probably pioneered this hooliganism, who became party executives. We are rewarding them for being quote-unquote criminals. And the party bigwigs who should know better either don't condemn them or at the very worst actually even promote these things. I remember some time ago, I don't remember the year, when Frances something was lashed apparently.
This is in Eridek. I was there.
Yes.
I was there. And people ran for their dear lives.
How can we...
Samoa was there. Yes. We had to, cordon off a place and protect him
there.
Yes.
So for me, I think that it is ludicrous. It's ridiculous that we are supposed to be so educated. We gather to undertake an exercise in erudition, and a bunch of hoodlums come and hold us to ransom. Just because, you see, the point, sometimes I wonder, why does somebody who wants to be a member of parliament, you are going to your constituency to campaign, and then you want some guys to come and defend you? If I ever wanted to contest for member of parliament, I don't need anybody. If I don't feel safe in my constituency, then there's something wrong with me.
You have no business.
Or there is something that I should address. So we are using these people. In fact, I quickly have to add that I used to live close to one of these quote-unquote macho men.
Okay.
And in a discussion, he gave me his phone. Believe me, across the parties, politicians and religious, this guy is on speed dial to all these people.
In fact, these days, some of the pastors use them.
Not some. Most of them. So I know politicians from NDC and MPP. I know, football team managers.
Right.
And that is how. I remember even my celebrated, this pastor who went and misbehaved in the radio station and everything. He is on speed dial with these people.
You're talking about obedience.
I did not say that. Okay. I know.
He went to
but that's
destroy
the point
somebody's
I'm
radio
making.
station.
So we are using these people. I would call... these are people who are benefiting from doing the wrong thing.
Right.
And we are giving them market for their services, and we are defending them. Whether we like it or not, we know our celebrated member of parliament from, Asin Fosu,
Kennedy Japan.
I don't speak Tree very well, sadly. Okay. But I heard some of the things, I think I understood the things he said, and it was like, look, nobody can go after them, or something to that effect.
Right.
Now, that is not acceptable. Even if that's the sentiment that you have, I don't expect that you go on national TV and make such a declaration. Then you're making them feel like, okay, we've got a big boy there who's going to defend us. Well, fortunately, he has made a U-turn.
His call says some of them should be absorbed into the national security. And all the national security minister could do was to banter with him on radio. I found that as unfortunate, really.
They were bantering on radio?
Yes.
Live radio?
Not live radio. I mean, they called him, and then when he was done, Honorable Kandapa came, and then he says, Kennedy is nobody, they should leave him. You know, that kind of thing.
A quick one before you come in. Sincerely speaking, I'm hoping for the day our ministers will realize that they have so much more work to do than talking on radio. The national security minister, and you have time to be called on radio? I mean, how many times in your entire life have you heard the Minister of Defense of the UK, even on TV? There are issues.
Yes.
We shouldn't be concerned with reading about our Minister of Defense or Minister of Security or Minister of whatever, having, you know, verbal challenges on radio. There are problems.
But did it actually happen?
Yes,
on
it
which
did.
radio station?
It did. I've forgotten. Somebody sent me the tape on WhatsApp. And, you know, he was...
But I'm surprised. You know,
because Kennedy said he wants to kill him.
No, I'm not surprised at Kennedy. I mean,
yes, but the minister, Kandapa, he responded.
I would have taken Minister Kandapa above this level.
Yeah, no, he responded to him.
For all the years I've seen him in politics, you know, reacting to a thing like that on radio.
He did. He responded on radio. The tape is all over on social media. I'm sure you find it.
Don't deny that that's not the tape.
Like Ricky said, the issue, we have a lot of work to do.
We should fix the problems. Stop talking.
As for ranting and running commentaries on radio, some people have made a living out of it. But as for National Security Minister, your job is cut out. It's cut out. Even if you have a differing opinion, it's not on radio. I mean, we have had under Kufuor, we had a National Security Minister, a National Security Coordinator. The one who was changed last minute, what was his name? I forget his name. You know, who even saw him?
They're not even supposed to know him.
Saw him. Went to Tobi Kwachi and the rest were managing national security.
Yes.
Captain Chikata, national security.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Captain Chikata calling into a radio station? Hey, it's Captain Chikata. What are you saying?
Sincerely speaking, we never even saw a picture of Captain Chikata in the paper.
Let's take our time and deal with issues. This knee-jerk reacting thing, it shows the infightings.
Okay.
Tough fightings. It's like, it's my territory. Who do you think you are? No, we don't need that. Just solve the problem. And I mean, those who say, I mean, I'm told, like you said, that Kennedy Japan said that nobody can touch the boys.
Okay.
I mean, that's daydreaming. He's not the minister.
Maybe he knows what he's saying.
No.
Maybe he's done it in the past.
No, but nobody can touch the boys. But they have just been fined. How about that? They have just been fined. And they will stand trial again. He is not the judge.
Some say he being a member of parliament.
No, even members of parliament disagree with him.
He should know better. But then it doesn't stop at disagreeing. It goes beyond that into the privileges committee.
Well, you see,
why haven't they been able to summon him?
No,
because it's clearly not doing parliament any good.
They know their job. We will deal with it in the confines of the media space. And I'm saying that, one,
if it's become one too many and they know their job and they are not doing, can we perhaps remind them?
Well, if it does become, then we'll have reason to also come again and speak to the issues. But as things stand now, such commentaries do not help the solution of a problem like this.
Okay.
You know, because today it is MPP and MPP.
Right.
Tomorrow it may be NDC and MPP. And it does not augur well for the country.
Okay, let's move on. The Ghanaian Times says Media Occupy Ghana DTA declare April 26th National Red Day and is all geared up towards the fight against Galamsey. Samed, you are an integral part of it because Giba is also in the mix there.
That's correct.
Tell us, what are the plans? 26th?
In all honesty, I wasn't at the meeting yesterday, and the Giba president was there. So, and I do not have all the brief concerning yesterday's meeting. But my whole understanding is that it's just something to signify our resolve to make sure that we carry on and sustain this campaign against Galamsey. It's something worth noting is that all the organizations and the media companies that are involved are giving 100% commitment to this with their pages in their newspapers, and then also City FM's Stop Galamsey program that is going on. Currently, before Parliament, we have
in fact 3FM and TV3 as well.
As well, okay. So and then there are media. In fact, even I know tomorrow stations in Takoradi are also embarking on Beach FM, and the rest are also embarking on a similar thing in Takoradi and other regions. So it's something to sensitize people, one, and to sustain our efforts at campaigning. Make sure that in our lifetime, these things, because you see, the rains are just around the corner, and it started in certain places. Our thinking or expectation is that if we can put a stop to this, the rains will help us by washing down some of the filthy water that we've generated over the period that we cease mining, so that at least we can have some fresh water coming into the system. And so it's going to go until we see that this whole menace of Galamsey has been dealt with.
The minister gave an ultimatum, I'm sure is ending, around this week.
Yes.
21 days, he says, by which time we'll see some action. Have you seen some action?
Of course. But every day we hear arrests. That's action.
We've had people being arrested in the past. Really.
Oh, even yesterday there were stories about
the Chinese who were looking for
interpreters. And they don't arrest themselves. It takes the force of the military and the police to arrest them. Because as you may well know, some of them have heavy equipment, heavy weapons, and weapons to protect themselves because they pay for the concession that they've been given by whoever, and they want to protect it with their own weapons and all that. And so it's not an easy task, but I think that for me, I'm not the one to be in a hurry to hold the minister by the neck, because it's not magic. It doesn't just happen.
But he gave the ultimatum.
Yes, and I'm saying that after the ultimatum expires, he is now going to intensify action on making sure that this thing stops. And that action itself has to be sustained over a long period of time. I'm not thinking that after 21 days, everybody is going to go back home and enfold their arms. No, some people are going to continue.
Okay, Ricky, Galamsey, are we winning the war?
We can win the war if we put ourselves to it.
Okay.
One, I am particularly unhappy about the way we have decided to blame the Chinese for this. I'm not saying they are not complicit, but no Chinese man arrived in this country by force. They didn't land with parachutes. They came through our airports.
They've written to our
yes, and I think that, as usual, we have jumped on the necks of the Chinese as though they started it. You come to my village, you need the chief's permission. He probably was fronted by the assemblyman or some big wig who got the concession in their name and then sublet it to them. So once again, we are not taking responsibility for what we are doing ourselves.
Okay.
I am as early as 2012, I went to Amansia West in my line of duty then, and I am not ashamed to admit that I actually cried because a new bridge that had been constructed was being chopped away.
Wow.
I saw fellow Ghanaians in a ditch with Chinese men wielding, pump actions. But these people did not come into this country without our acquiescence.
Right.
We allowed them to come in. I don't know if I'm being extreme, but if I were the president, I would declare a state of emergency. I will declare. Yes. No. When are we going to get there when we may not have water to drink? How serious does it have to get? We play politics and play games with all these issues. Once upon a time, there was a Fulani menace. We played politics with it. The next time now we have a Galamsey. What is happening is that there is not a single river, somebody disprove me, that has got any water that can easily be treated for drinking.
Right.
And this is not an emergency. We are waiting for Ebola. That is our only understanding of an emergency. We are not getting fish. Even whatever fish we are getting is probably poisoned by cyanide or what have you.
Mercury
What are we waiting for? Why are we playing politics with this? I live in a country, Singapore, where they did not have their own water and they were importing from Malaysia. Believe me, when Malaysia decided to increase the cost of the water per cubic, whatever, it was a crisis. They had to do something about it. They started purifying their wastewater, at considerable cost. We have water through nature and we are actively polluting it. It's not as if that is not sightly for touristic purposes. It is actually dangerous. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Why is this all?
History has it that in 2013, when then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources moved to stop this, the Chinese wrote the letter they have written now in 2013, a similar letter.
I have with all respect, I have no problem with the Chinese. This is our land. Stop, everybody, stop galamsey. Hold on. When the government took over power, they went in and checked all contracts here and there and left and right. Some of them were rather too high and said, stop galamsey today, review all the licenses. Let's find out who has got this concession and that concession. Whether even under the terms of your concession, you can actually sublet it to somebody or not. Every mineral in this country belongs to the state.
Exactly. Invested in the president.
Yes. And it is, believe me, if Nana Addo, His Excellency Nana Addo, does not do anything at all, but he stops this and sets up a task force and say, look, folks, people have taken over power and they have nationalized oil companies. If you came and paid some thousands of dollars because of a concession, I say, my brother, everything goes back to the state of this country. We are going to take our time to reissue. Let them take us to court. But I am not going to blame any Chinese government letter. I'm not going to blame any Chinese man who has... Look, it's like the Wild Wild West that we used to see in the movies. There is gold there, let's go. The people are sitting around. We'll go on. So please, we need to take a strong action. Mr. Mewu, I pity him.
Okay.
Look, the other day there was this young man who actually had the effrontery to take a video of himself.
I've been asking the police to pick him up.
And did we even have to wait for the police to tell the police? This is completely audacious for somebody to tell Nana and he's walking around free.
He says the president is doing into Atwa.
I mean, can you imagine this? And when if I suggest that I am looking with nostalgia at some days past, then people take me on. But what do you mean? You can't even say that to your village.
They take you on for your age?
No. When I say I look with nostalgia, a certain period past.
The revolutionary period.
I always talk about the revolutionary period.
No, that is not acceptable. And then we have to call on the police to go and arrest this guy. Why?
Sometimes the campaign on the media front, many have been wondering about the fact that it's scattered all over. It is not concerted and consolidated in a certain way to a certain direction. Does Giba have a plan, a roadmap, say, okay, this week, this is our target, we're setting the agenda in this direction, we're moving? Can we do that to also champion it?
It goes beyond Giba. So let me be quick to say that. There's a whole coalition. So, and I think they do have a plan. I'm not so sure how they want to execute it because, as I said, I wasn't at a meeting yesterday. But they do have a plan. I mean, they plan to have the National Red Day. That's a plan.
April.
So it's just to keep the campaign activity sustained. And for me, look, we are only media houses.
Right.
And the only thing we have is a platform.
Okay.
And it's to use a platform, one, to educate people, to sensitize people, and also to sustain the whole campaign. What is the campaign about is to create a certain sense of urgency that we are not sitting pretty.
Okay.
We are not sitting pretty at all. If whoever, whether it's Chinese, whether it's from Mozambique, whoever, goes to do the galamsey, if he means well, he should drink the water that the village people are drinking.
Okay.
But he comes with sachet water. So whilst he's doing that, he's drinking sachet water. He's telling you, the village people, that you are stupid. Because I have lived in a village before.
Okay.
True village.
Okay.
Where we fetch water from the stream.
I see.
And only recently, when I went back to the village, the thing was brown, like a fancy man's no, fancy man's Milo. Thick,
how does it look? It's thick, eh?
Thick. I'm telling you. So it's bizarre. And this is 2017. If we leave this situation unchecked, what is going to happen even 3-5 years from now? The cost of purification of water is going to go up.
In fact, the water companies shut 40 of their pumps down.
And we don't see it as a crisis situation.
They are not able to.
And we as a country, we don't see this as a crisis situation. I pity this country. I'm telling you.
And quickly, look, we've been trying to even sanitize the Odo River.
Yes.
Since before I went to primary school, I suspect. And we have not succeeded.
Yes.
Now we are going to have all the rivers in this country. Yes. And we are going to do what? To be able to purify them. We will not. What is going to happen is that, in fact, somebody should take this country to court. We are actually committing mass suicide.
And who will be the defendant?
Well,
we are committing mass suicide. We are sitting down and allowing some people to gallivant into our country, go and poison our rivers, take our gold out. I mean, I'm not even worried about the gold now. I'm saying our animals are being poisoned. That's even if they survive the water. Yeah. Our fish is being poisoned. People are sick every day just because of gold. And we are sitting around squabbling over unimportant issues in the city.
Wow.
Well, let's wrap up with a story I found on the BNFT front page. It says new tax exemptions rule could breed corruption. That's Abdullahi Ali Nachia. He says he's a tax expert, and he says we'll create a bureaucratic system where somebody will be looking for kickbacks or incentives to grant you your refund, and which is justly yours. So, you know, the tax exemptions, it came with some level of excitement that you pay and then you can go and get a refund. He says the bureaucratic processes that we have currently will push for corruption to happen. You're a businessman. Is it true what he says?
I'm not a tax expert, man.
Yes, but you're a businessman.
When Abdullah Ali Nachia speaks, we keep quiet, man. But I think the authorities should take his concerns into consideration. That's all I can say, so that we can improve on the system that we have. I mean, I'm sure we do have a lot of consulting organizations that are into tax advisory and things. But Abdullah has been one outstanding person over the last decade or so, and so I'll take anything he says rather seriously. Okay. And then urge the authorities to take it into consideration. Because what's the point? That you lower the tax and then people use the back door to make life more difficult for businesses.
Ricky, Youth Enterprise Development Network.
Don't, my brother.
I'm not going there.
You know, my problem is simple. We are just an interesting bunch.
We didn't foresee this.
Look, it's as if there's corruption with or without tax cuts.
Okay.
Even the tax collection system in this country is one which is fraught with open, blatant corruption. People come to you and say, my brother, you are supposed to pay 20,000, but look, let's run things. You give me 5, I'll take 5, and then we'll sort it out. It happens every day.
In fact, last year, not to cut you, last year, somebody, a caller we had on 3FM, he said the ECG folks came to him, they checked his meter, they said he owes some 6,000. Then he goes to the office and the guy says, well, boy, he has 6,000, or boy, get 2,500 about you, or clear.
Well, I didn't understand that.
So they says, you don't have 6,000, but you can bring 2,500, we'll clear it for you.
We'll sort it out for you. It's a sorting out
that you're talking about.
Charlie, everybody wants to be sorted out.
So, for me, this is just another legitimate opening for people to do what they are very good at. But as a general comment, let me remind Nanado that he came on a blaze of promises.
Okay.
His job is going to be difficult. He has to arrive gun-toting, euphemistically. He has to, he has to take very strong decisions in order that we are able to feel something.
Says he's in a hurry.
You see, you can be in a hurry, like, if you are in a hurry, you don't do things well. But decide where you want to go and take very, very far-reaching decisions. For example, I have no problem if he gets up today and said, I don't know, are they allowed to give executive fiats as president? But look, state of emergency, do all that is required, no more galamsey. Call the National House of Chiefs and say, with all respect, can you enlist your membership to make sure that nobody, talk to the Minister of Local Government, go make sure that all the district chief executives and the district directors are on board with this matter. Nothing happens until we do so and so. When it comes to the GRA, something has to be done.
Okay.
We were all in this country when President Atta Mills went to customs, I think in Tema, and was almost in tears. We all sympathize with him, but what has come of it? And we all know these things. So either we want to work on them, or let's just continue consuming ourselves until we fulfill the vampire economy kind of thing, where we keep feeding on ourselves until we have nothing, and we'll finish, you eat ourselves up. But the tax expert is right. But the thing is that even the regime as it is already fraught with corruption. So this is yet another opportunity
For people. Anyway, let's wrap up right now. And 50 arrested for vandalizing police station. It happened in the Western region, Jomoro to be specific, around that area. 50 of them have been picked up. Question is, will justice really come about? Because oftentimes when they pick 50 people up, they scream them, then they leave 2 people, and then they become scapegoats. We are told that there are 2 women, 4 women actually, part of the people who've been picked up. Sometimes they vandalized the police station, they've been picked up, but then go around to where do we go for here?
Well, they should process them through the courts and do what they have to do.
Well, in the past, we've seen people swoop like that, and then they are screened, and as I said, 2 people are left, and then the rest.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they will do, but if you ask me what they have to do, then it's no rocket science. They just have to take them through courts and prosecute them.
Okay, Ricky.
The thing is, and they need to make noise about it so that it would deter other people from doing these things.
With all respect, while that is well and good, the point is, why do people do these things anymore? I don't know the story behind it, but people have lost confidence in the ability of the police to respond to their concerns. So that is the reason why they tend to take things into their own hands. I'm not rationalizing it, but if the police are not seen to be proactive, they are not seen to be delivering on their mandate, then people will take issues into their own hands.
Well, I mean, taking issues into your own hands can never be an option.
Well, I mean,
it can never,
if what
under
happened
any circumstance, be an option.
Is anything to go by, you suspect somebody has stolen something from you, the first thing you do is to go to the police station.
Yes,
and not to
you
beat
go
up
to the
anybody.
police station, and then in the next second is strolling out. It takes 1 year for him to be found not guilty.
While what Ricky is saying is only a matter of fact, that if the police refuses to show their impact in our communities, people will be forced to exact justice by themselves, which is because somebody thinks that, well, if I take him to police, they will
nothing will happen. Yes, sometimes thieves are arrested, you get them stealing, they get in there 3 hours, they are back on.
I'm actually told that some of them, when you start beating them, they are looking for the nearest police station, because when they get there, they'll be fine.
Wow.
You know, so we need to review this whole thing, and because if we leave things the way they are, then we are in trouble.
Charlie. Be Ghana with you. We'll get there one day.
No. 1 day is not good enough.
It's been long in coming.
Yeah, 1 day is not good enough. We have the opportunity. We have the manpower. All we lack is the will to maintain our lives. It looks like...
I don't know if you've spoken to any police or military person. I think 3 days ago I was talking to a friend, a military person, on this 13 people.
Okay, the Delta Force.
Delta people.
Okay.
And he said to me that, I don't even know why people call them force. The soldier man said, I don't even know why people refer to them as force. These are hooligans. And look, if you people like, give the military 1 day.
Yeah. Face
just
off.
1 day.
Face off with them.
It's not face off. Face off is like their colleagues.
They'll wipe them out. But you see, you people, you speak big English. And when I sat in my car, I was just reflecting on what the guy said to me.
Yeah. Because he's trained for it. He's trained to do it, to deliver.
That's the point. So if the politicians do not consider this as an issue and give the right people the right chance to do it. You see, sometimes I have a problem with democracy, and I hope somebody does not take me on later in life. But democracy seems just to mean that it is an excuse for lethargy. We actually have regional groups called Invincible, Delta, Bulldog, call them Highness, what have you. We know them. We know them. And the minister says that they are not legitimate. And they are strolling around.
We've got to go. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
If they call themselves a force, they should come and face us.
They should come and face them. In fact, there was a letter on there, one joke on social media, from a certain captain who was inviting them to come to Bema camp for 1 or 2 things.
For a conversation.
For a conversation. So that, Thank you very much, Ricky Kasisa Pipra is CEO and founder of Youth Enterprise Development Network. Thank you very much. And Samuel Atamesa is CEO of CTFM. Gentlemen, grateful and have a nice day. So we'll return shortly after this.